Hey guys, welcome to Nerd Echo. This is actually not the podcast Nerd Echo. That series is kind of dead, and that's my own fault. I killed it personally by being a procrastinator. So I thought,
You
well,
stabbed it in the back.
right in the balls. I was spent so much time getting it ready, and it really didn't go anywhere. And it's my own fault. I just forgot about it, and that's not the first time I've done that to something in my life. I'm sorry, Dad.
What?
I'm joking, but I can't really figure out Nerd Echo as a podcast where I can put it in my schedule. And then it occurred to me, well, why don't I do a talk session with my friends? Because I usually do this when I research my videos. I bring up a topic, I want to share the ideas and see what my friends think. They're great for feedback, and I steal their ideas and call them my own, and don't credit
Oh, so
them.
that's why we're friends.
I wouldn't go that far. You're not my friend. You're just kind of my blood bag. But introduce.
I don't think we're even the same blood type.
I don't even know what my blood type is. That's how bad I am.
I don't
have no
either.
idea either.
I mean, what's your blood type? I'm like, it's red. But so Nerd Echo now is a series where I want to record talking to my buddies about topics leading up to different videos. So like Sony's coming up here. This episode is talking about our favorite shows on Cartoon Network. And I'm going to release this video the day after the main video comes up. So we're recording this one before the Sony one, and I'll explain the Sony one as well whenever that comes up. But for today, talking about our favorite Cartoon Network shows, and I have two of my good friends joining me today. He's a good buddy of mine, Paleo.
Hello.
He's got his own channel where he does reviews of movies and cartoons. And then
Yep.
my good friend here, Sashi.
Hello, hello.
Here is awesome for feedback. He's a straight shooter, and whenever I'm like, "Do I look fat?" He's like, "Yes, you do," and I trust.
What?
You've never said that, but whenever I have audio or visuals or whatever, I go to Hero in particular because he'll tell you how it is, and I appreciate that for just, I guess, a quality check before uploading. But all right, proper introductions. Let's head into it, guys. All right, so the topic, as I said, is our favorite shows on Cartoon Network. You can bring up Toonami, Adult Swim, but I'm kind of aiming more for shows that were produced and created by Cartoon Network. But and also you can bring up, Total Drama Island if you're a shitlord, if you want to. But I'm
I'll
not.
just go
Yeah,
ahead.
they're
And,
fans
I'll
of
just
that
go
show.
ahead and erase that off my list. Then wow, rude.
No, you can't do it. No.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I've never watched that show ever.
But what about my goth girls? All right, so one of my favorite shows, and I'm going from...
Was that your pan impression?
No, it's just a coincidence. If it was a Pan impersonation, you would have been cringing a bit more. Love you, Pan. All right, so one of my absolute favorite shows, and this is like going to be one of the ones on the higher up on my list, is Dexter's Lab, which was one of the first cartoon shows on the network, created by Gendy. I fell in love with it instantly. What do y'all think about Dexter's Lab?
I used to actually try to draw Dexter, and I would like try to draw like a his lab and what I thought would be in it. But like his lab is so big in the show that there's even like an episode where there's a section of like his forgotten inventions.
Oh yeah, weren't there like a bunch of zombies in there? Like robot zombies?
Not like
or-
zombies, but like robots that like haven't been used.
Dexter, and also like I remember when I watched the show, I'm the kind of guy where I'd get upset. I'm like, oh no, they're destroying his laboratory, and it's like, yeah, it's made up, it's fake. Like it can be just absolutely obliterated. It'll be a-okay next episode. But like Dee Dee destroying it always made me really upset.
Dexter's is weird because like I love that show, but it's almost like kind of hard for me to tell why because there's not like any like the character development was great or the colors in the show were outstanding. It was just quality entertainment, you know? Like,
It was funny.
It was
right.
very funny.
It was a very funny show, and they really had a lot of fun, like making fun of different things that already exist, like the Justice Friends, where it's like basically their own version of Captain America, the Hulk, and Thor living as roommates in an apartment. Like that's brilliant. And that was a short show, a little. I think they'd occasionally make like
Yeah, it was like a segment on Dexter's Lab.
yeah,
Mhm.
Just like
the Puppet
what's
Pals.
Puppet Pals. Yeah, but there's that segment what's the name of the monkey?
Oh,
Dial M for monkey.
he's just Monkey.
The monkey's
yeah,
name
just
is
Monkey.
Monkey. What? Yeah.
Well, fun fact: one of the characters that appeared in the first Monkey episode was like this. It was basically an episode of The Most Dangerous Game, which is a book.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he appeared in Samurai Jack too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, which because again they made Samurai Jack, so perfect.
Yeah.
And speaking of Samurai Jack, spoiler, it's number 1 on my list.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am,
Well, if you already released a video by then, like people are gonna know.
well, this video will come out the day after the video's released.
Yeah.
So if you watch it in the different order, that's your own fault. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Dal M for Monkey and the Justice Friends, one of my favorite episodes of the Powerpuff Girls is actually when the Powerpuff Girls meet the Justice Friends, and they're like,
I remember that.
Oh yeah, it was a good masculinity versus femininity episode, but it
Yeah.
wasn't beating you over the head with it.
yeah. But yeah, the Powerpuff Girls, that's my favorite Cartoon Network show.
Well, that's on my list, absolutely. Powerpuff Girls again, it wasn't made by Gendy, but it was made by his colleague and friend Craig McCracken, and those two were like two of the
buddy.
Well, yeah, they went to school together. They work on each other's shows. They share.
Smart.
Yeah, well, they shoot ideas back and forth. It goes. It's kind of like how Pixar, when it first started, had a group of people who knew each other and they grew with it.
Right. Powerpuff Girls is great though for it was really clever. Things that we can't be clever about today anymore, unfortunately, because people are really sensitive to certain issues. But Miss Bellum, she was a really smart person who always helped the mayor out, even though she wasn't the mayor, and it was a play on sexy women or whatever. It's sexy women can be smart too. I love they put a whole bunch of progressive ideas in there. It was great. I love
It's
that.
Miss Sarah Bellum.
There was an
Yeah.
episode where Medusa was trying to pose as Miss Bellum, and she was flirting with the mayor as Miss Bellum, and there was that as a kid I didn't get it, but as an adult I'm like, oh my god, with the pencil and the pencil sharpener, he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, whoa, they did that. And they absolutely did. There's a bunch of jokes in there and references. There's that scene where Blossom was thrown into a coat rack at the school, and she emerged out of it.
Oh yeah,
Cartman.
he came out as Cartman.
Yeah. No, and the show Powerpuff Girls had some of the greatest villains I've ever seen in a cartoon show.
I still think Kim is one of my favorite villains ever. I feel I'll never see a villain like that again, which is unfortunate.
Well, it was super
Really
creative.
flamboyant too.
They one of my favorite things about the show is how the villains have off days where the Powerpuff Girls are like, hey, and they're like, no, I'm not doing anything wrong today. I'm just going to the store.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, as you were.
Yeah, what were you doing before that? Reading the paper.
Or him with doing yoga. It's like, hello girls, and he's wearing yoga pants and stretching and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the crank call episode where the Gangrene Gang was making crank calls.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. One of my favorite episodes though was when they had Dynamo, the robot.
I was gonna bring it
yeah.
up. I'm so glad you brought it up. That episode is so dope. Yeah.
Well, I love monster fighting robots, which is why I was crazy for Dexter, because Dexter had plenty of robot fighting monsters. One of my favorite cartoon episodes ever was when Dexter and his family formed, Go.
Yeah, the Power Rangers
Our
magazine.
Dexter Family Go.
Yeah, and everything was that movie. I was in love with it. The monster, had a really cool design. I mean, Dexter had some really great TV movies, because there's the one called
Well, the Go Family Go episode that was more like a half-hour special.
yeah,
But that wasn't a movie.
you're right. My bad. There's the other one.
But Dexter's Ego Trip.
That's
is
it.
Awesome.
Hello, Billy. Hi. Hello. It's great because Mandark's voice actor appeared in the Polar Express, and it was so uncanny to have that
Oh
voice
yeah,
coming
that
out
was
of
so
a
weird.
kid. Hey, we're going to the Polar Land, man.
That reminds me because the second episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Mandark's voice actor is in there, but he's in there as these geeks at an arcade. It was oh okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Another show that I really enjoyed on Cartoon Network was Johnny Bravo. That wasn't on my list though, because I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I would like.
I barely remember it. I need to
love it.
rewatch it.
Another show that was really progressive, and I enjoyed it. It's like, okay, yeah, life's gonna be real tough if you. Am I allowed to curse? I have no idea.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Life's gonna be really terrible if you're a shithead.
Well, Johnny,
So-
I don't know if he'd fly nowadays, and the reason why
I don't think so.
Well, because he's a meathead. And even back then, it was like, well, he's just ass kicked for hitting on ladies and being like a meathead and
Right.
being a jerk about it. Because nowadays you have people who are like, well, they don't even want to like have any empathy for a character. Because like, look, I mean, nowadays we look at Pepe Le Pew and it's like, dude, you're a rapist. Like you're like grabbing girls and kissing them as they're trying to get away. Like that. I guess back then was more playful and lighthearted, but now it's like, no, he's touching her and that's not consensual. And I guess it's kind of happening to Johnny right now, where it's like, no, he's kind of a harasser, and we're not accepting that. So it's like, well,
The moral of the show still stands, but it's like it's harder to get there now.
yeah. Though I like how one of my top favorite things, period, that Cartoon Network ever did was making Cartoon Network City, and how
Right,
there's
yeah.
these crossovers, and you've Johnny like canonically dating Velma.
Mhm.
Which is funny because there was an episode where Velma's hitting on Johnny and Johnny Bravo, and he's like, "Go away, get away from me." He's trying to get on Daphne, but then afterwards in CN City, it has them basically as a couple and like hanging out, going on dates. I love that. I think it's great.
Right. I kind of I for real missed that. Do they do that anymore? I don't know.
No.
It's really unfortunate.
Clarence
no,
had
they
a-
just have like an entire week schedule for Teen Titans Go.
I've been watching Teen Titans Go on my television. Just
Is it good? I don't think I've ever watched an episode.
Teen Titans Go is not terrible. There's much worse shows. What Teen Titans Go suffers from is poor scheduling, and it's overkill. It's kind of a kick to the face to people who were fans of the original Teen Titans.
Yeah, it's not that the show's terrible. It's just that the show stings.
Yeah, it's insulting because it's like, oh well, Teen Titans was a great show back in the day, and it took itself serious. It was a good action show with new characters that, or at least were new to me, and I really enjoyed it. And now it's like, oh well, now it's this, and it's just kind of like a shell of its former self. And then Cartoon Network doesn't help by showing it 300 times a week.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
As in, no joke.
Well, at least
Yeah,
this week.
300 times a week.
As of this video's date.
Right.
Like this,
Yeah, because
currently
like
this
we
week.
looked up the cartoon schedule for this week when we're recording this, and like it's nothing but Teen Titans Go and a few episodes of OKKO.
It's not even a few. It's not a few. It's 67 airing. So, no.
And what's a funny thing, they have this TV movie. It's like something to do with music and Cyborg and how they're trying to like Cyborg's lost in some dimension. The other Teen Titans are trying to get him back, but they need some band or some musician to help play. And they meet CeeLo Green.
Oh my god! Really?
and
yeah.
Which is funny to me because CeeLo on the record has said some pretty weird things about like how like I think drugging a girl's okay or something like that. Like
What
some
the hell?
kind of rapey stuff, and it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are you putting this guy on a kid's show when he's kind of controversial in that regard? Whatever.
That does remind me though. Recently Mars Review, who has like an excellent channel,
Oh yeah.
he did a video on Freaknik the musical, and I completely forgot about that. It was
Never
like an
heard of
Adult
it.
Swim movie special, where it starred T-Pain as this Freaknik thing.
Oh.
I
What's-
completely forgot
What's
about
freaking it? What does that mean?
it. Freaknik? It used to be like this big party in Atlanta.
Oh, that went right over my head, and I didn't live that far away from it.
Why did
Yeah, well, it was a party in Atlanta like when you were a kid though. So
There's a lot of these.
like
about
'cause
Atlanta I
they
missed.
like shut it down and like moved it to like I forgot where, somewhere in Florida.
They let Florida take it. They can deal with it. A show I thought was like a good successor to Powerpuff Girls was Foster's Home.
Oh yeah.
Show was great.
Well, did you guys ever actually like Blue?
No, he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible.
Yeah, and there was never really a redeeming moment for Blue. I was like, he's just kind of an ass.
Right.
But
One
everything
of my
else is great.
favorite long specials that Cartoon Network has done was the one with Foster's Home, where there was that box that was like an imaginary place that they went in. Do you remember that?
I
No.
don't remember that. No.
Yeah, I need to find the name of it because yeah, like I think like Frankie goes into it and she like gets comfortable and is like, no, I'll just stay here.
Huh.
Huh.
So yeah,
Never saw that
I don't
one.
remember. I
'Cause
don't think I
it's
remember
it's
that.
really good though. I really recommend it.
I recall Goodwill Hunting, and that was like some
Yeah,
like,
that was
Mhm.
that was like a 2 hour special.
That's
But
great.
this one was like a movie special.
huh. I'll check it out. I liked the designs. Like again, Craig and Gendy they had an understanding of like how shapes are important to a
Yeah.
character,
Mhm.
and they really did that with Foster's Home, Pop-Up Girls, Samurai Jack. It was great.
I really am in love with that intro. Like whenever I watch Foster's, which I still do, like honestly, the intro is so nice.
The music's great with the how
Mhm.
it's so bubbly and kind of like I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like some kind of like guy at a parade like pushing a float that's like boom bam bam boom boom bam bam with like horns and bells and whistles, and he's like playing all the instruments by them himself. Like that's what it reminds me
That
of.
reminds me, wasn't there that one Macy's Day Parade with like Foster's Home?
Yeah,
And like they had Rick Ashley come out and
Oh
like
my
do a
god.
Rickroll on the entire parade.
that's like 2011, so it was like pre-internet like memeage blowing up. So they kind of did it like before things became shit.
2011 is
But yeah,
PG?
2011. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, I feel like shit posting and memeage got really stupid in like 2014 and onward. Okay, another topic for another day.
I was saying like Rickrolling was like around since 2005.
That's different though. That was the innocent days. All right. Speaking of Gendy though, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Did you guys ever watch that?
I did not.
Not the
I watched
computer
it.
one.
I only watched Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 like 2 years ago for the first time ever. So
Star Wars: The Clone Wars was what's weird is because I looked on Wikipedia and technically it was a show on Cartoon Network, but it was a like a mini series. And
Yeah, it's a miniseries.
what
It wasn't like that many episodes.
what they did is they aired it at the beginning of Cartoon Fridays, and it was like every episode was like 4 to 5 minutes long. It was short, and it bridged the gap between Star Wars: Attack of the Clones and Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. So it was kind of airing during that era, and it was fantastic. Gendy made it, and it was basically Samurai Jack.
Better than the
meets-
movies.
It was better than the movies. It absolutely was. Like Anakin had more emotion during these than any other Star Wars film. It was fantastic because you have like they explain how he got his scar, how he lost his arm, and got no, I mean they talk about that in the Clone Wars, but like there's this thing about how he helps like this people who are being turned into like these biological soldiers and how he like gained their trust. It's really good stuff. Excellent action. There's this really great battle scene where Mace Windu takes on like an army of droids with his bare fist and uses the Force to like kill them all. It's great. It's got that level of like fantasy meets sci-fi, and I highly recommend it. Let me scroll down the list here. Oh, okay. One of the most underrated shows that still surprises me with its wittiness and humor is The Amazing World of Gumball.
Oh yeah.
I gotta be honest, I still don't think I've seen a bad episode of that show.
Neither have I. It's brilliant.
It's really bizarre because I don't watch it like persistently, but whenever Paleo was like, "Hey, you want to watch an episode of Gumball?" and then I watch it, I'm like, "Why do I not watch this show like all the time?" Like, I don't get it.
Same. It's got such a unique style and flavor to it, and how it's kind of got a Family Guy vibe with the family being like kind of silly and stupid, but it's not obnoxious. It's super clever, very clever with its animation. There was
and like that one episode they did recently with how there was that weird Chinese knockoff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they break the wall pretty
They
hard.
was making fun of bats. Is it Chinese or Korean that is the knockoff?
It was Chinese.
Yeah.
It was like
It was Chinese,
and the show
yeah.
was trying to sell the Chinese show. Its sole purpose was to sell like goat milk or something.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then like they basically said you don't have to be like copying us. You can like be original or whatever. And then like they they keep copying them, and then like He fucking died.
Well,
in
what's
the
funny
show.
is
Like fucking killed that family.
and they did it in a very clever way. And it's kind of political. China has or had for a long time a one-child policy for their families, and how like they were kind of discouraging big families, and they like Annalise, is that how you say her name?
Annalise.
And the American show, there's 3 kids in the family, and the Chinese bootleg, there's only 2, and the youngest daughter isn't in the family. So, so the demise of the family was at the end, and the little girl saved the American family, and they were like, the Chinese family, oh shit, we don't have that. They like went flying off a bridge because the little girl couldn't pull like the e-brake of a car, and it's like that's hilarious because that's political. They don't have the little girl because China doesn't want to influence their population to having big families like something on TV would. Congrats to Gumball. Brilliant show. And they break the fourth wall in a very creative way.
Mm-hmm. They bring in like relevant humor that like in other shows would make me go like, ugh, don't do this. But like for some reason they're so clever. I'm like, ha ha ha.
Like
I saw that on the internet.
That one episode we watched recently, the console, where it's basically like a parody of like Final Fantasy and different RPGs.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I like when they go into the pet store and there's a cat.
Don't think about it too hard.
See, the show's clever that way. Like it makes fun of itself. It gets real like that.
Oh, what was that episode where they were losing budget for their animations, so they had to get drunk?
Yeah,
oh my
god!
I think
3 or 4 finale.
That might be the best
that
episode.
is the most clever. Yeah, legitimately the most clever.
They had a scene similar to that in an episode where, like, because there's one character in the show is an upside down mouth, like it's the chin talking, and it's filmed in real time.
That's right.
And a character's in bed sleeping, and she has a nightmare where, like, it's like, okay, cut, and like the character's like, the camera's zooming out, and it shows like the person, like the actual
the person
actor,
who's like,
running around screaming, being
my
like,
gosh.
oh my god, I'm a real person. It's brilliant. All right, another show on my list was Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah, Ed and Eddie.
That show is important.
Which every time I think of it now, I always think of our friend that was like really like into Ed, and Eddie.
Oh yeah.
That I don't know where he is.
He went on to do other things, but we had some buddies who are like they're called Ed Heads, and that's like the name of the extreme fans of Ed and Eddie. And what's so great about Ed and Eddie, what I love the most, is the characters. It's a cast where it's like this is as big as it gets.
These are all the characters, and that's it.
That's it. This is the cul-de-sac kids, and
you never see their parents or anything.
Nope. And the only character they ever show in real time, in full body and everything, was Eddie's brother, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
that was for like their finale.
Yes, which was a satisfying finale. And what I love about this show is how, like, as a kid growing up, and I'm not sure it's probably different now because of the internet being a bigger place, but I only knew a set of kids on my street, and that was it. That was your world. And that's what I love about this show, is you got Rolf, you got Kevin, you got the Kangaroo sisters, and they keep running into each other, going on adventures, having fights, and had some pretty clever episodes. I love the turkey baster episode with, like, the sheriffs.
Yeah.
My favorite episode of that show is, I believe it's the same episode, but it's when Jimmy loses his outline and then everything just starts getting really trippy.
Oh yeah.
I think those are the same episode, but yeah, that episode's great.
It was psychedelic because like they ate the sun.
Yeah.
I lied. That is not my favorite episode. My favorite episode is when Ed became a monster and kidnapped all the kids and stuck them on the wall.
Yeah, that was like a slasher film. They're in like the tree fort, and they're like looking down. He's like running around the trunk of the tree.
That is the best one.
I love that one episode where Ed has like a pebble in his shoe and he's like completely angry. And he like eats a slide.
I love the one where they make their own shitty version of a cruise ship, and like they like persuade Johnny and Jimmy to go on it, and then they get raided by the Kanker sisters as pirates. Like again, the setting's great because it's nothing insane like going to outer space or fighting some kind of like aliens or whatever, like not Johnny Test, fuck that show. Ben 10. It's limited to the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
from the limitations, they come up with some great like stories and great adventures and great characters, and you get used to the kids after a while. Like, oh God, what's Ralph gonna say? Because he's gonna be pissed about his farm. I always wondered who's the strongest character in that show, because there are episodes where I'm like,
Rolf.
Yo,
Oh my god.
Rolf or Ed?
I think it's
Like,
Ed.
Ed's pretty strong too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Just at random times though.
Ed freaking ate a slide.
You live in the cave. Life has many doors, Ed boy. All right, moving on to one of my favorite recent shows from Cartoon Network. Oh, I say recent. It was 7 years ago. Regular show.
Yeah, regular show.
Very
It recently
recent.
just ended this year, so it's still pretty recent.
Regular show came out at a very important time in my life, and that happens for some audience members where it's like, oh, I grew up with Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls. I was like in college and post college during Regular show, and the main characters from the show were around that same age demographic, that same age group where it's like you're working a job, and that was cool for Cartoon Network because they have a lot of shows that feature children, not many that feature adults, and that was refreshing to have like them throwing on sodas that actually are like beers, or getting yelled at by their boss, or going to like the bowling alley, or having like kind of girlfriend problems or whatever that weren't like stupid, like, oh, how do I name the ways I love thee? It's like, no, it's more like, let's go to the coffee shop. Oh, that girl's cute.
You pulled a Mordecai, didn't you?
Mordecai?
That was like a thing.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Well,
Yeah.
and the characters were like, because you had like a giant yeti, you got a Frankenstein looking monster, you got a floating ghost, you've got a gumball machine.
Frankenstein like? Oh, you're talking about Muscle Man?
Muscle Man. He looks kind of Frankenstein-esque in a way.
I guess.
I mean, he's green.
He's green. There you go.
But like they didn't, and then you got some random humans thrown into the assortment. So it's like it's so weird, the world that it's in, because it doesn't really question like
Yeah.
Why is
like
it-
the park manager a gumball machine?
yeah, or why is there like a giant bluebird and a little raccoon, things like that. But it adds to the flavor of the show and how things inevitably in every episode would go out of control.
Yeah.
Also, the aesthetic of the show with the 80s vibe, like you can tell that the people who made it, they were influenced heavily by their upbringing and like having like 8-track and things like that.
The only cartoon that's ever going to have a Sega Master System in it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I have to ask, was ham boning a thing before regular show? I actually don't know if it was a word for regular show.
I don't even
I
know what
don't
that
know.
means.
Ham boning. You don't know what ham boning means?
No.
Ham boning will save your life one day.
What is it?
I'm sorry.
You call yourself a fan of the show.
I don't know.
That was like one of the first episodes.
One of my favorite characters is Muscle Man. Just how like obnoxious he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some moments in that show where there were jokes that actually had me on the floor laughing, and that's really rare for like just a Cartoon Network show. I mean, there's some funny shows, but to have me like actually crying laughing, that's not easy.
I
So-
just love Benson.
Oh
Such
God.
an angry
Yeah.
man. He's
I
so
feel bad
angry.
for him. I feel bad for the guy. He's just trying to, because there are moments where like it shows like him just in reprieve trying to just do his job. That's it. Because Mordecai and Rigby are idiots.
I think that's why I related to him though, is because like there have been times where I'm just trying to do my job and they're just idiots. I'm like, oh my god, please.
I got I believe one more show here, or two more, and then we can end this. But Steven Universe. I enjoy Steven Universe because it has an overall story and
An
I
overarching
enjoy it.
story, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems pretty epic.
Right. Every time they like reveal a new bit of information, they usually do it during the Steven bombs, but like even some of the little episodes, there are little things in here and there that make more sense later. I love that. That's great. It keeps you really invested as a viewer.
Yeah, and it gets excited. I mean, Steven bombs can also be somewhat of a sloppy way to present their material. Where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what episode came out when and where it is, and spoilers and things
Right.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the aesthetic of the show, I love the colors, I love the music. The characters are pretty great because like people claim it's social justice warrior nonsense, and there are times where they're a little bit, leaning in that direction. But but the characters don't come across as like preachy to me too often. Like I love Craig,
Yeah.
I love Lapis and Peridot and I like Steven. I think he's a great protagonist. He's not.
Steven!
And it's Steven. Well, that kid is me in a lot of ways because I love to wear flip flops with jeans, and I was kind of that happy-go-lucky dumb kid.
And
when
you
I-
are Steven.
And yeah, with a PH. I do it the fancy way.
Stefan. Yeah, you mentioned the music. It's interesting. It's weird because I love the music, but I shouldn't as the kind of person that I am because it's like really, it's not like super mixed or mastered or anything like that. Like it is just they play the instruments and then it is in the show, which like for the vibe the show's going for, it totally works, and I love it for that regard though.
No, I agree. I agree. Just the little like ukulele sometimes, which can be a little bit overdone by a lot of shows. But I like the little computer, the little digital pop in the background.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
fun, it's
like-
relaxing.
Yeah.
And when they sing, there's like seemingly no pitch correction, so they're off key sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, for this show, like I said, for the vibe they're going for, it totally works.
Absolutely. That's basically most of the shows I was listing off on my list. A show that I got some honorable mentions here. Chowder was funny.
Yeah, I was gonna
Chow-
say like both Chowder and Flapjack.
Yeah.
They came at a
like,
time. Yeah. They came at a time when they were needed because, man, cartoons were not looking so hot around that time.
Also, Cartoon Network was trying other things like live action and adopting shows from like Canada. Chowder and Flapjack carried the network for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Over the Garden Wall is technically not a show. It was basically like a 10-part series. And I wish I could put it on my list because it's one of my favorite things that ever come out of Cartoon Network. Jim's review of it, our buddy Jim, who helps also with these videos, he did a review about it, and he says it's one of the very few and also very perfect like period pieces for like fall and autumn.
Yeah, it feels like fall.
Yes, because you see the changing of the seasons. It's a cool adventure. It's very unique in that way of like the leaves are falling, and it's kind of got like this like post or pre-Civil War vibe to it, with like wearing like bonnets and going to like the schoolmaster and being on like riverboats, like I guess kind of Huckleberry Finn-esque in a way.
Yeah.
Totally enjoyable. Elijah Wood's also a voice actor and did a great job.
Yeah.
We Bare Bears.
Oh yeah, that's
It's just a good, feel-good show. Yep.
It's a comfy show.
It's so comfy. It's like I'm about to go to bed. Let's put on a thing. This is nice fall asleep show.
Yep, I enjoy that too. It's casual, and the characters are pretty great.
Except for that one episode where I wanted to like cry my eyes out afterwards. That's like the world. The burrito episode, if you're also so you know.
I'll have to check that out. Grim and Evil. Or
Yeah, what Grim and Evil or like Billy and Mandy?
more in particular, Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, more Billy and Mandy. Because like Grim and Evil would
Came
like
first.
split off to be
But,
Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and then Evil Kept Carnage.
Evil Con, yeah.
Maybe that changed there just in the title. I liked how it had a dark feel to it, kind of like Invader Zim in a way, where it's like grim, which just makes sense because it's grim. Is the name of the character is the Grim Reaper, and just the stupidness, craziness of it.
I just remember always seeing the short that was like on What a Cartoon
Right.
for the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and then I was always questioning like why does the Grim Reaper have a Jamaican accent?
I thought that was fun. I liked that.
Yeah.
That was style. That was building the style. I want to know why he had to listen to the kids with that deal. It's like, dude, you're the Grim Reaper. Who gives a damn? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
In this show, I'll get sassed for it, probably in the video, in the comments. Adventure Time. I appreciate Adventure Time. What it did for animation and for Cartoon Network. I appreciate that it kind of gave a rebirth and a renaissance to the network, but I never got into it.
Right, I'm the exact same as you. Like I don't particularly care about the show, but it was so important for what cartoons are right now. Like
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching after a while. I'll probably pick it up again at some point, but I'm kind of disappointed that Cartoon Network didn't go ahead with a movie. I'm not sure if they're still planning on doing something like that. because I really want him to do like another cartoon movie, like they did with Powerpuff Girls. And that's the only one they've ever done.
You'll get one with Teen Titans Go, maybe.
Oh no! Wouldn't that be just Warner Brothers though?
Oh, gross. Adventure Time had this quirkiness to it that was a little off-putting for me. Where I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit too like just awkward, and it like because I mean like awkward shows are kind of a hallmark of entertainment right now, with like characters being goofy and weird and purposely like having just awkward dialogue. And Adventure Time, I think, kind of trademarked that, but I didn't really enjoy it. It was just it didn't flow for me. Like regular show has awkward moments, but it can be funny.
Yeah.
But Adventure Time is like go dude, go talk to her and how you feel, and it's like, oh, we get it. Finn's supposed to be kind of a weird guy and says weird things and weird observations, but it just didn't. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Personally, but. That's about it as far as my list goes. Any other things you want to mention?
What about Courage?
I never got into it. I never really loved it.
I like Courage. I thought it was just fun of like the different monsters that Courage would have to face, and a lot of really funny quotable lines.
Eustace was
nope,
fantastic.
not getting out of this chair.
What am I?
Like Eustace, even though like he's a terrible husband, I think he has like some of the funniest lines.
He's also a fun character to hate.
Yeah.
Or dislike. It's not bad characters aren't you're bad guy doesn't make you bad guy. But Eustace is he's kind of a bad dude, but he's enjoyable that way. And I've been meaning to rewatch the show, and I think on a second viewing I'll enjoy it more.
What's
What's
That was the freaking Cats theme too.
Oh, a fun fact, and I've shared this with you guys. The theme for Cats, which just type in cat theme Courage on YouTube if you want to listen to it. It was used in the Ants movie from DreamWorks.
Really?
Yeah, because there's a scene where they're at the bar and they're like, let's go up and cut a rug and dance, and they're all kind of dancing this awkward like dun 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 dun. Well, that part, the with the horns or whatever, is removed, and it's just the background. That's the same beat used by Courage. I don't know, just a little fun fact that I discovered. But
Yeah.
anything else you want to share?
You hit most of the shows I have here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far off of Cartoon Network originals.
Time Squad was okay.
I was gonna bring it up. I don't like history at all, but I enjoyed Time Squad, so clearly it did something, right?
It was
Yeah, it had a good concept.
yeah.
It had a good theme song.
Yeah.
Also, Bobby Hill is the character.
Oh my God, you're right.
I was just gonna say What a Cartoon. I guess that counts, but I don't know. I watched What a Cartoon a whole lot. Just enjoyed seeing a whole bunch of different ideas that people had that most of them didn't get made into shows, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Um,
Something I never really got into, but a lot of people did, was Codename Kids Next Door.
I think it just passed my time. I think.
I enjoy Candy. I love the idea because when I was a kid, I used to like have a big imagination with like kids fighting the adults and having tree forts and
Oh, K&D. I think you said Candy.
like Kids Next Door, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. The designs were kind of weird at times, but yeah, I think it actually had a definitive start and finish.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people are super into that because I talked to a lot of people who are like right under my age, and everyone's crazy about K&D, and I was just like, I never got into it. So I guess I just after my time is when that show was meant for.
I can't think of anything else. That's it. That's all Cartoon Network has.
Yep.
Everything.
Okay,
Except for
KO.
everything that's on Toonami and Adult Swim.
That would be a different time. Oh, KKO is
Yeah,
a
totally
new
different.
show, by the way. I
I still haven't seen that yet.
It's on. I was on my TV earlier today, and I enjoyed the heck out of it
On the telly.
on the tele. But all right, guys, thank you all for joining me. We'll be back. So for those watching this on YouTube, this episode was recorded before the Sony one, because I'm gonna record that tomorrow, hopefully with Paleo. I think you're joining, right?
Yeah.
here. If you're around, you're more than welcome to join. And then Jim, our buddy, will be in the call as well, hopefully. But if not, then it'll be just a few of us.
Yeah, so if you hear this afterwards and Jim's not in it, blame Saber.
Yep, blame me. Just shoot me up in the comments.
Blame him anyways.
All right, guys. Thank
Just
y'all.
for something.
Oh. All right. Thank you for joining. Talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.